The Odyssey by Homer. Book 19. Recognitions and a Dream. Now by Athena's side in the quiet hall, studying the ground for slaughter, Lord Odysseus turned to Telemachus. The arms, he said, harness and weapons must be out of sight in the inner room, and if the suitors miss them, be mild. Just say, I had a mind to move them out of the smoke. They seem no longer the bright arms that Odysseus left at home when he went off to Troy. Here where the fire's hot breath came, they had grown black and drear. One better reason struck me too. Suppose a brawl starts up when you've been drinking, you might in madness let each other's blood, and that would stain your feast, your courtship. Iron itself can draw men's hands. Then he fell silent, and Telemachus obeyed his father's word. He called Eurycleia the nurse and told her, Nurse, go shut the women in their quarters while I shift father's armor back to the inner rooms, these beautiful arms unburnished, caked with black soot in his years abroad. I was a child then. Well, I am not now. I want them shielded from the draught and smoke. And the old woman answered, It is time, child, you took an interest in such things. I wish you'd put your mind on all your house and chattels. But who will go along to hold a light? You said no maids, no torch-bearers. Telemachus looked at her and replied, Our friend here, a man who shares my meat, can bear a hand, no matter how far he is from home. He spoke so soldierly, her own speech halted on her tongue. Straight back she went to lock the doors of the women's hall. And now the two men sprang to work, father and princely son, loaded with round helms and studded bucklers, lifting the long spears, while in their path Pallas Athena held up a golden lamp of purest light. Telemachus at last burst out, O father, here is a marvel. All around I see the walls and roof beams, pedestals and pillars, lighted as though by white fire blazing near. One of the gods of heaven is in this place. Then said Odysseus, the great tactician, Be still, keep still about it, just remember. The gods who rule Olympus make this light. You may go off to bed now. Here I stay to test your mother and her maids again. Out of her long grief she will question me. Telemachus went across the hall and out under the light of torches, crossed the court to the tower chamber where he had always slept. Here now again he lay, waiting for dawn, while in the great hall by Athena's side Odysseus waited with his mind on slaughter. Presently Penelope from her chamber stepped in her thoughtful beauty. So might Artemis or golden Aphrodite have descended. And maids drew to the hearth her own smooth chair inlaid with silver whorls and ivory. The artisan Icmalios had made it long before with a footrest and a single piece, and soft upon the seat a heavy fleece was thrown. Here by the fire the queen sat down. Her maids, leaving their quarters, came with white arms bare to clear the wine cups and the bread, and move the trestle boards where men had lingered drinking. Fiery ashes out of the pine chip flares they tossed, and piled on fuel for light and heat. And now a second time Melantho's voice rang brazen in Odysseus's ears. Ah, stranger, are you still here, so creepy, late at night hanging about, looking the women over? You old goat, go outside, cuddle your supper. Get out, or a torch may kindle you behind. At this Odysseus glared under his brows and said, Little devil, why pitch into me again, because I go unwashed and wear these rags and make the rounds? But so I must, being needy. That is the way a vagabond must live. And do not overlook this. In my time I too had luck, lived well, stood well with men, and gave alms often to poor wanderers like him you see before you. Ay, to all sorts, no matter in what dire want. I own servants, many I say, and all the rest that goes with what men call prosperity. But Zeus, the son of Cronus, brought me down. Mistress, mend your ways, or you may lose all this vivacity of yours. What if her ladyship were stirred to anger? What if Odysseus came? And I can tell you there is hope of that. Or if the man is done for, still his son lives to be reckoned with by Apollo's will. None of you can go wantoning on the sly and fool him now. He is too old for that.